Jupiter conjunction in 0 degrees of Aquarius, I want to show to you my own Jupiter and my own Saturn. May I please have Jupiter first? And this is my very own Jupiter. And his name is Damru, and his nickname is Doo. Doo. And now I will introduce to you my Saturn. Come on, Saturn. Come on, Saturn. And that is my very own Saturn. And his name is Carlo. Thank you so much, Carlo and Dua. All right, thank you for. And now I'm going to begin. I'm going to light my candle that I just made. So we sanctify the space and we set a very positive intention for this upcoming conjunction, which starts a 20-year cycle as well as a 200-year-old large cycle in the air triplicities. So before I begin, I'm going to call on Ganpati. Ganpati being the energy that initiates, that leads us into things. So we call Ganpati with Gang Ganapataye Namo Namaha. And then we set an intention that May 2020 and the great conjunction at Aquarius be a herald for everyone. May it bring humanity the waters of wisdom. It is not the age of Aquarius yet, but 2020 is really a huge jump, a huge vroom in the oncoming energies of Aquarius. So we take a moment and we steady our breath, because Aquarius is also the sign of Kumbhak and Rechak, which I've already explained in a video which I made saying the link of Aquarius and Kumbh Mela. So do check it out. And this is a candle I just made. You make these astrological candles, very special ones, and the red is symbolic of Shakti. Okay, so we also have a mustard oil diya, which is sacred to Saturn, because mustard oil is very, very powerful in invocation and worship of Saturn. Now we begin with my detailed expose. So please like, comment, share. For this information that will be revealed to you today is not something you will hear in any channel or in any other place, because I not only talk about astrology, I link this to Tantra, to Vedanta, as well as to esoteric cycles in the work of Master DK and HPB. So what I see online is a lot of people, including astrologers, saying that this is the age of Aquarius. Saturn and Jupiter meeting is the age of Aquarius. Now, I'm not going to deny that when Mars met Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, 0 to 1 of Aquarius, a short while ago, it sort of brought in a new wave of Aquarius energy. Now, when we speak of Aquarius, we think of waves, right? Many people think Aquarius is a water sign because it has a water bearer. It's not. The waves are for Haptic waves, as we will discuss. So before I begin, I want you to clearly understand that this is in no way the age of Aquarius. It's not here. But we are at the threshold of the age of Aquarius. And definitely the meeting of Saturn and Jupiter in this fixed air sign of Aquarius is definitely heralding a new era for us. But when we look from the future, we will see life from before 2020 as something completely anachronistic. Okay, this anachronistic ideology, the way we lived with a top-down pyramid, the way we exploited the earth, the way we, did not care really about brotherhood, all of that is going to be abolished. because the true age of Aquarius is the coming of Mahatmas. The true age of Aquarius heralds the coming of the Kalki Avatar, which I will go into great detail with you. So, before I begin, I want you to understand that this information is not something you will hear every day. So please help this channel in any way you can. If you feel that this particular information is valuable to you, please do help this channel in any way you can. So if you read The Secret Doctrine, if you read Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, then you will immediately know that this is not the age of Aquarius, but she dates the age of Aquarius at 2117. Okay, now there are about 800 years in between two ages to truly bring in the new era. So right now, as Saturn and Jupiter meet in their triplicity, at the very 0 degree of air triplicity, it sort of sparks this energetic vibration that is Aquarius. The mountain, the valley, the mountain, the valley experience of Aquarius. Okay, so it's about 800 years in between two ages that it takes to completely come onto the threshold of a new era. Okay, so that's something we need to know. So Christ told his disciples that go out and find a man who has a pitcher of water on his shoulders. So what does that mean? We know that Christ consciousness belonged to the age of Pisces. So in a sense, Christ was referring to the age of Aquarius. For after Pisces comes the age of Aquarius, for we count back to the ages. Okay. So 800 years is really instrumental in understanding how the change will take place from one age to another, from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, okay? And here we have Saturn. Saturn as the ruler of Aquarius. Let's understand Aquarius. It's a masculine sign. It's a diurnal sign. It's a air sign, and it's of the modality fixed. So it's fixed air, okay? Now we know that air scatters, but fixed air scatters the least. And because this is Saturn's sign, there's a groundedness to this energy, okay, that we must always remember. That when you think of Capricorn and Saturn and Capricorn, think of structure, society. Think of everything enclosed by an enclosure, like a gate of some sort. And when you think of Aquarius, think of what lies beyond. Okay, because Aquarius is a sign that rules aliens. It's a sign that rules metaphysics. It's a sign that rules AI, robotics, deep space explorations. So it's obviously not a sign that is concerned with the mundane. The modern ruler of Aquarius happens to be Uranus. Okay, Uranus is the spiritual awakener. Okay, where Uranus brings to us spiritual epiphanies like thunderbolts. Okay, sometimes they shock us, they scare us, but it is ultimately for our soul growth. That is what Uranus strives for. So when you study the work of Master DK, okay, the Tibetan, then you truly understand how the age of Aquarius cannot come into being till the sun's precession into the sign of Aquarius astronomically. And it is in 2117 that the sun really proceeds into Aquarius astronomically. Okay, and the age of Aquarius is nothing like what we see now. It is the coming of Mahatmas. It is the establishment of Shambhala or Gyanganj in physical reality. Does that mean all will be hunky-dory, all will be good? No, because energy is always dualistic. Think of how electrons and protons dance with one another. It's always dualistic. There's always friction that creates reality. So the age of Aquarius comes with its own set of problems, comes with its own set of pros, and of course, it's here to initiate us into something deeper. So we are so used to the top down pyramid. We are going to reverse that in the age of Aquarius. Okay, it's going to be bottom up. For we will all have equality. Yes, this is the time of decentralization. It's the time of creative innovation, of ideation, of community work, because that's what Aquarius does. It establishes brotherhoods. It establishes a place where everybody can function from an equal platform. Okay, it's not Capricornian. Capricornian is the mountain. So the mountain is always concerned with hierarchies. But when you look at the sign of Aquarius, it's the sine and the cosine waves of existence. And you see that in Aquarius, the symbol, the glyph itself, it encompasses the mountain experience as well as the valley experience. Once again, the mountain experience, once again, the valley experience. So, what is this revealing to us but the path of an initiate, the path of an adept, the path to self actualization? Waters of life be poured for thirsty humanity is the motto of Aquarius. So this water is not the normal water that we drink, or not the normal water that the oceans are consisting of. This is the waters of creation on which Narayana sleeps on Sheshanaga. Okay, Narayana moves on the deep waters of space. This is that water. Okay, and the true age of Aquarius is actually the coming of the Kalki avatar. Now let's understand Saturn. Saturn is Shani. Shani is restriction, karma, mastery. When you think of Shani's card or Saturn's card in the tarot, you have the devil. The devil is a figure, Judeo-Christian ideologies are scared of. But truly the devil is inside, isn't it? So when we integrate dualities, when we go beyond dualities, I think that's what Aquarius is aiming for, to go beyond these dualities. Okay, that's why it's a change, it's an ever-changing sign. Okay, although it's fixed modality. Okay, so 2117 is the true age of Aquarius. Okay, and Saturn rules Aquarius. And Uranus, of course, is the modern ruler of Aquarius. But what we need to understand is Jupiter is not dignified in Aquarius. He is the sole ruler of Aquarius, and he also, of course, owns the fifth term of Aquarius. So this is not a place where Jupiter has no power, like we saw in Capricorn. Yes, there was the whole Zeus and the Amaltheus horn of cornucopia, when Zeus was suckled by the nanny goat. So we see Jupiter exalted in Cancer, and we see Jupiter in fall in Capricorn. But there's always that nanny goat symbology. So there was always this, us being taken care of somehow. But here, it's not that. It's Jupiter being the sole ruler of this sign, that is Aquarius, right? So the first decan of Aquarius, and 0 degrees to 10 degrees is the first decan of Aquarius. I told you how each sign, once you understand the triplicity system, you will see each sign is divided into 3 decans, okay, of phases. The first phase, the second phase, and the third phase. First decan is 0 to 10 degrees, then 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Okay, so this is the first decan of Aquarius. And first decan of Aquarius is Aquarius triplicity. Second decan of Aquarius is Libra triplicity. Third decan of Aquarius is Gemini triplicity. Okay. No, sorry. Second decan of Aquarius is Gemini triplicity. Third decan is Libra triplicity ruled by Venus. So the last leg of the age of Aquarius by decan will be ruled by Venus. Okay. And the second decan is ruled by Mercury because that is Gemini triplicity. Okay. So we've got Saturn, very powerful here. He rules the first decan and he's also the domicile ruler of this particular sign. Now, incidentally, 13 to 20 degrees, which is decan 2, is ruled by Jupiter. Okay, and this is the third term of Aquarius, and this belongs to Jupiter. Decan 2, which is got that whole mercurial influence because it is Gemini triplicity. So again, we see Jupiter and Mercury at play. Jupiter being gnosis, Mercury being data and information. Now, once we understand that the esoteric ruler is Jupiter, we understand the science of planetary rays and esoteric astrology. We see how Jupiter is able to bring out the soul component of Aquarius. You know, the internal soul component of Aquarius. When you meditate on the star card and you look at the symbology, you see this very primordial nakedness of a maiden, you know, under the Pleiades constellation, giving water and receiving water. So there is a beautiful give and take with Aquarius. That's why it is the 11th sign of the zodiac, the natural place for larger communities and networks. Okay, so now when we come back to terms, we see that again, Saturn is, of course, the first decan ruler, the domicile ruler. He also rules 25 to 30 degrees by term. And this is the fifth term that belongs to Saturn of Aquarius. So Jupiter owns 13 to 20, decan 2, which is Mercury's decan, and Saturn owns 25 to 30, which is the decan of Venus, Libra triplicity. Okay? So again, we see these influences of this meeting percolating when they travel through these particular degrees of the sign of Aquarius, fixed fire sign of Aquarius, right? Now, this is truly this meeting. Even Islamic astrologers like Abu Mashar have called the meeting of Jupiter and Saturn as the Great Conjunction. Because not only do they exemplify how society will play out, they set for us larger cycles in motion. And incidentally, Jupiter and Saturn were meeting in Earth triplicities. So the Earth triplicities were heavy. That was the era of industrialization, the era of labor exploitation and stuff like that. And now that we move towards the air triplicities, they did meet again in air, and we had the birth of the internet. Twice they met in Libra. Saturn and Jupiter, this great conjunction. Somewhere in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And we had the birth of the internet. Okay? And now this is the first time that they've moved completely away from the Earth triplicity, and they're ready to start a completely new cycle in the air triplicity. Okay, so this heralds a new 20-year-old cycle as well as a larger 200-year-old cycle of air domination. And this air energy is cemented by the North Node in Gemini. It's being cemented, this energy. So this is a place where both Jupiter and Saturn, two of the most magnanimous celestial beings, you know, this is the place they meet. This is 0 degrees of Aquarius, is where they begin a new era. All right. Now, when we think about the meeting in the air triplicity, We think about lighter feelings. We think about lighter communication. We think of the time of AI. We think of, huge innovations, because this is a time when innovation is it's going to just rock our boat. We will never guess what happened. And this era before 2020 will be sort of an anachronistic era. And you have stuff like data dignity, universal income, the bottom up pyramid, open source, free education, all of free healthcare. All of this is not only a viability, it's the truth. Because Age of Aquarius brings to us the coming of the Mahatmas, and this time they meet in Aquarius. The next they meet in Aquarius is 2080. So 2080 to 2117 is really the intensification of the Aquarius energy. Yes, we are feeling it heavy. Aquarius is very heavy right now. But wait till it gets to 2080, right? All this stuff, this data dignity, this bottom up pyramid, free healthcare, free education, the new world. And not in a conspiracy note, that new world order, but the true new world that will be birthed. As Arundhati Ray said, that the new world, if you want to hear, close your eyes. She's so close that you can hear her breathing. So that new world that Arundhati Ray talks about is here. And she's literally breathing. A new dawn heralds us, believe me. Now we look at the fixed cross. Okay, this was a mutable cross where all this energy was playing out with the age of Pisces. Now, with the age of Aquarius, the energies start to play on the fixed cross. Okay, and what is the change from mutable to fixed? Mutable is very, very changeable. It's very adaptable, yes, but it's very, very changeable. But with fixed, there is a fixity that is so very required if you're going to make true progress. Interstellar travel, the discovery of alien life. But what happens? But we know that that is not an energy Aquarius vibes with. This is not a sign that gets too stuck, because there's constant movement. The mountain, the valley, the mountain, the valley. Always remember that. So Saturn by decan, okay, will lead the first 720 years. That is from 2117 to 2837. Okay, that's the true age of Aquarius. So Saturn owns the first decan, like I told you, and the fifth term, right? And he's a domicile ruler. So from 2117 to 2837 is the rule of Saturn. All right, first decan. Right? Now, this is very symbolic. For when Christ says that, find the man with a pitcher of water on his shoulders, it was the coming of the age of Aquarius. And there's something very Saturnine about it, because when you hold a pitcher of water, you shoulder responsibility, right? Now, incidentally, Saturn is opening a door for us, okay? Right now as we speak, when he meets Jupiter, he's already gearing to meet Jupiter. He's not been here in Aquarius for 30 years. He's anxious, Saturn. So he's going to go right in, and he knows this air triplicity time is going to begin. He's wondering what innovations are going to come, what rays he's channeled from the fixed stars. He's also wondering, like us, because Aquarius is the great unknown, the great unknown. That's where we are headed to, right? So he is literally opening for us this door to enter. Saturn, when he meets Jupiter, he opens this door and he invites us and he says, let's walk through this door. And what is Jupiter? Jupiter is the esoteric ruler, like I explained. He also owns the third term, 13 to 20 degrees of Aquarius. So he's powerful in Aquarius, right? So Jupiter is gnosis, symbolizes wisdom, knowledge, enlightenment, self-actualization, love, um, you know, jnana marga, which is the path of knowledge, right? Ultimate Kundalini awakening. And incidentally, the Mahavidya of Saturn is Kali. He rules the Muladhara chakra. The Kundalini lies coiled. Jupiter, his Mahavidya is Tara. She rules the Vishuddha chakra. So, the coiled Kundalini to communication, Vishuddha chakra. That's what Jupiter is bringing, those rays, communication. What do we speak? What do we say? How do we create with words? Everything is created by the nada. The ultimate nada is Om, from which everything emanates, right? So, symbol of water bearer. This is so beautiful because Aquarius is literally a sign of baptizing. Okay, it's a sign that the waters, the cosmic waters, literally baptizes you. And who is baptizing us? Jupiter. Jupiter is baptizing us with gnosis. So this meeting is a pathway. Think of the high priestess, the two pillars of Boaz and Jachin as we walk in. And there is this invitation to a baptism by gnosis. Okay. Now, when we talk about Aquarius, we've got to talk about its polarity energy. The polarity energy of Aquarius is Leo. And these two are the vertical arm of the fixed cross. Okay. The vertical arm of the fixed cross. That's horizontal. That's Scorpio Taurus. They are the vertical arm. Okay. Now, when we think of Saturn, because he rules Aquarius, Saturn has no dignity in Leo. We know that Saturn and the Sun are not particularly friendly, right? When we look at the myth of Saturn and the Sun, Surya and Shani, we see that the birth of Shani eclipsed the Sun. So, there's always this real enmity between these planets, right? The Jupiter, he does not do as badly as Saturn. He owns, he's much better placed because he of course owns the Sagittarius triplicity, which is the decan too. 10 to 20 of Leo belongs to Jupiter. All right. Now what we need to understand is Leo is the sign of the fifth ray. Fifth ray belongs to Venus. Okay. And it is Saturn and Venus that really literally create the reality. Saturn brings in all this information from the fixed star, brings it down, births Aphrodite Venus through the five senses. We experience the world, right? So this is the sign of the fifth ray of Venus. And the lesson for us, what is the lesson of Venus? Connection, right? Basically, we need to learn what Saturn and Jupiter and Uranus mean. So we have to dig really deep into the archetypes of these planetary diamonds. We must understand, drill into it, how Pluto drills into meaning. Okay, astrology is not like, oh, okay, this is your natal chart and I pull it out, okay, and this is the time when you'll get married, this is the time when you'll have kids or you'll have a divorce. No. Astrology is the science of light. It is up to you to channel the correct rays. If you do channel the correct rays, you manifest what you desire. Because everything is about planetary rays. That's why when they say you have a depressed sun, our ancestors say when you have a depressed sun, wake up in the morning, go to the sun and literally do Surya Namaskar. Do hymns to the sun. Saturn likes charity. Jupiter likes Atma Vidya, or knowledge, wisdom gathering. So this is how you work with planetary energies. The Picatrix and the Western magical system says that, oh, if a planet is depressed in your natal chart, you cannot make a talisman of it. But our ancestors say the exact opposite. They say no matter how depressed or afflicted a particular planet is, you of course can work with that planet. You may invoke that planet. And you will be successful in establishing a connection with that planet if you so desire. It's all Ichha Shakti. From Ichha Shakti comes Kriya Shakti, which is when you do something about it. Oh, I love making YouTube videos. I love it, but I have to really come here, put the camera there, put on that light and make the video. That is Kriya Shakti. That's very, very important to understand, okay? One thing is perception, then ultimately the action that needs to be taken to manifest, to materialize. So we need to understand what Uranus brings as well. Uranus is a spiritual awakener. He's a wild card, okay? When you hear the myth that Kronos cut off the testes and the scrotum of Uranus and birthed Aphrodite, is then you realize Uranus is deep space. So to segregate non-being from being, Nirguna Brahman to Shaguna Brahman, to bring that all that is into manifestation, the severance needed to happen. Okay, from Akash Tattva is born Prithvi Tattva, right? So the vibe right now, okay, in the negative level could be cold, could be detached, because again that sun is all about warmth, and that sun being in fall in this particular sign. Aquarius is very eccentric because no planet is exalted here. Some say, okay, Mercury is exalted, but Mercury is exalted in 15 degrees of Virgo. I do think Mercury does exceptionally well. And so does Mars, because that Leonardo da Vinci had Mars in Aquarius. So does Elon Musk, of course. Now, let us understand, we need to energize all the elements, okay? All the elements, as in water, fire, earth, okay, all of this we need to energize. Otherwise, there will be a starvation of the nervous system. Remember, Aquarius always craves salts. So, eating salt literally is very powerful right now. Not too much, tiny bit of Himalayan rock salt. No white iodized salt. Your body is going to crave for salts at this time, all right? Now, let us understand the Jupiter and his connection to the planetary rays. Jupiter is related to ray 2, which is individual consciousness as well as world consciousness. Microcosm to macrocosm, okay? Now, Saturn is related to the 7th, 2nd, and 4th ray, right? So there's this beautiful interplay of rays, and these numbers also mean a lot, okay? Which is again another whole subject matter for a video, actually. So here we are in Aquarius, going through the mountain experience, the valley experience, the dark night of the soul, the self-actualization, the dark night of the soul, and self-actualization. So this is Aquarius. This is where it's taking us. Are we ready to understand the dark night of the soul? And not in a scorpionic sense, okay, which is about blood and guts. This is about something airy, something intangible, something indescribable, something quite words don't express. The human mind is dwarfed in its comprehension of all that there is, that Tvamasi. For the microcosm is the macrocosm. Let us not forget that as we go through this mountain and valley, mountain and valley experiences in Aquarius, okay? Up and down and up and down, okay? Not even left and right and round, just up and down, up and down, up and down. It can feel crazy sometimes, okay? But that's what we are ready to do now. We are ready to go a little crazy in the right way, of course. Now, the sign is prone to depression. So there's also this, because we are operating from this, Aquarius energy, all of us feeding off, vibing off this Aquarius, we're all going to be slightly, prone to depression and craving salt. Remember, homeopathic medication is one of the best ways to go. Ayurveda, yoga, mantra science. Okay, because ultimately mantras are air, Aquarius is air. So Vishuddha chakra activation. Now the moon is very important here. Why? Because the moon is the hierarchical ruler of Aquarius. Okay, this is all esoteric astrology. You must study the work of Master DK, the Tibetan, to have a better understanding of cycles and yugas. All right? So the hierarchical ruler, being the hierarchical ruler, it is said that the moon always hides something. Okay, the moon veils something, right? And what is the moon veil over here? I think it's the energy of Uranus. We'll get to that. So the ethos of Aquarius is decentralization, open source, okay, selflessness, service. Okay, some really profound keywords here, right? 2080, they meet again. Jupiter, Saturn in Aquarius, ready to share notes. Hey, what happened? We met at 2020. This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what's going on. Okay, so they're going to share notes again 2080, and I told you 2080 is really the intensification of the energy of Aquarius. Oh my God, till 2117, where we have the true coming of the age of Aquarius, the coming of Shambhala, the establishment of Shambhala on earth. So always remember 2080 to 2117 is going to be a very, very interesting epoch for us, okay? Now, also something I want to mention here is Polaris. You heard of the star Polaris. Polaris is the star that governs Shambhala, okay? And will align very closely with Earth's north celestial pole, Polaris. And this is exactly in 2080. So this is again where everything starts intensifying. And then the exact alignment will be 2117, right? Now, energy from the pole star is actually being transmitted by the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And this is sort of a gateway that Aquarius has formed. And he's transmitting all this information. Okay, the waters of knowledge be poured forward for thirsty humanity. So he's bringing all this information from Polaris, Aquarius. Saturn is active, Jupiter is active, bringing all of this information from Polaris. And bam, the celestial Earth, celestial North Pole aligns perfectly with Polaris in 2117. The coming of Shambhala, all right? This is the return of Mahatmas. This is the coming of the Kalki avatar, right? Now, when you think of Aquarius, it is the chalice of self-service, right? It is the light of the world. Yet we know that the greatest light of the solar system is in fall in the sign. So how do we sort of resolve this dichotomy? You know, Sun and Saturn, the play of Sun and Saturn. And now Jupiter's joined in full power. So there's going to be some really hardcore intensification of gnosis that is being poured forth for thirsty humanity, for all to receive. For all to receive, for all to get, for all to succeed. All right. We have the return of the Mahatmas with the age of Aquarius. Okay, Christ sent his disciple, I'll say it again, to find the man with a pitcher of water upon his shoulder. That means that this is the time, this is the age of Aquarius. This is when the Mahatmas will come with all the knowledge. Okay, the true resurrection of humanity. Now, Master DK clearly states we are not fully in the age of Aquarius, okay? And we are not fully functioning with that energy. So all this AI development, all this stuff that we see and that we think is, oh my God, the age of Aquarius, is not. It's a merging of the energies of Pisces and Aquarius, creating a sort of, churning. When you think of how the Asuras and the Devas, they churn the ocean to take out the Amrit, the elixir of life. That's what's going on right now. The whole energetic vibration of the multiverses is churning and churning and churning. Ultimately, 2117 comes the Soma, the Amrit, the elixir of life to be shared by everybody. And this time, no Devas can steal it. Because, the Devas literally tricked the Asuras and they stole the elixir, right? And then came all the poison or the halahal, which would drown all of civilization, all the multiverses. And then it was Shiva who took upon himself to consume the halahal without a thought. So the true icon of the age of Aquarius is Shiva, which I'm going to make a separate video on, how Shiva is the ultimate icon of the age of Aquarius. All right. The Mahatmas are going to come. They're going to come with the age of Aquarius. I'll read to you a bit about the Kalki avatar, of course, before I head off. And now we understand that waters of humanity be poured for, waters of knowledge be poured forth for thirsty humanity. That is what Saturn and Jupiter are doing. That is what Saturn and Jupiter are doing. Now I'll read to you a bit about the Kalki avatar, which is so interesting, right? The last, or Kalki avatar, the destroyer of sin, has yet to come. It is he who will destroy iniquity and restore the age of righteousness. The Kalki Purana speaks of him as one whose body is blue, like that of rain-charged clouds, who with his sword in hand rides as does the rider of the apocalypse, a white horse swift as the wind, the cherisher of the people, destroyer of the race of Kali Yuga, the source of true religion. The coming of Gyanganj, the coming of Shambhala to earth is the age of Aquarius. And Jayadeva in his abode to the incarnations addresses Hindas. For the destruction of all the impure thou drawest thy scimitar like a blazing comet. Oh, how tremendous! O Keshava, assuming the body of Kalki. Be victorious, O Hari, Lord of the universe. With the Satya Yuga, a new Maha Yuga will commence, and the ages will continue to revolve with their rising and descending races until the close of the Kalpa, or the day of the Brahma. That is when the Manvantara comes to close. All right? Oh, that is so precious. So now before I'm almost done. So before I go, let us discuss Aquarius and certain things that I have not mentioned. So first thing about Aquarius, yes, it is of the fixed modality. It is the vertical arm of the fixed cross and the polarity of Leo, which is a sign of individuation. And Aquarius is a sign of community. Aquarius is us, right? Changing activity, non-stop change, air scatters, remember that. Sine, cosine waves, okay, they are not a water, they are fohatic waves, F-O-H-A-T, okay, what is fohat? Fohat is the primordial force, the vitality in the cosmos, cosmic electricity basically. that links spirit and matter. And in the very first stages of differentiation, so when matter starts to just differentiate, okay, in clumps and in, girdles and differentiates, that is when Fohat activates it. Okay, that is the power of Fohat. That is Aquarius. The sine and the cosine waves are Fohatic electricity. Not the electricity we know of, not even lightning, but cosmic electricity that vivifies matter with spirit, that separates matter from spirit and links matter to spirit. So it has many different attributes for have. Okay, now this is almost like Nishkala Brahman. The very beginning, Nishkala Brahman existed alone. Okay, and it willed and became many. One consciousness. We can't even call it consciousness. HPB calls it beingness. Okay, Ein Sof of the Kabbalists. That is Nishkal Brahman. Nishkal Brahman willed himself and became many. All right, and from that issued the nada. The nada is the first primordial sound. Sound creates everything. Okay, that is the word. Even in the Bible we see, and then there was the word, right? And from the nada came the bindu, okay, which is a dot. Next to the bindu is the fiery bodhini, okay, or nibodhika. These are some hardcore tantric terminologies. If you are not interested, it's okay, but I know some of you will be. So this bodhini, the bindu, is situated in a lightning-like inverted triangle. Inverted triangle, okay, the bindu. And that triangle is a ka tha. So the apex is a, the two sides are ka, and the top, because it's an inverted triangle, is tha, right? And that is how matter is created. From this primordial nada comes the bindu, from the bindu comes the bodhini. Okay, and if you look at the inverted triangle, you can somehow see the Aquarius symbology, the glyph of Aquarius, right? Right? Yeah, it is upward triangle, but once you look at it like this, this is Aquarius, right? And you're talking about an inverted triangle. So when you see this, 1, 2, 3, everything in creation is Trinitarian, tertiary, in threes. Once you study the Sri Chakra, which is the Sri Yantra, you realize everything is Trinitarian, right? So we have from the Bodhini, the Fohatic energy. The Bodhini is lightning like inverted triangle, is Fohat. Okay, what the Theosophists call Fohat, the Tantrics call Bodhini, right? Now, Fohat is prana. And everything is because of the dance of prana and apana in the system. Okay, there are 72,000 nadis. Some texts say 5 crore nadis. But we break it down to 72,000 nadis in the human body, as well as in the macrocosm, as well as the microcosm. Out of all those nadis, 3 nadis are super important. The Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna. So the dance of existence is the dance of prana and apana through Ida and Pingala. The awakening of the Kundalini is bringing the prana and the apana to Sushumna and awakening the Kundalini. So this is what is going to happen. This is the spark that Saturn and Jupiter are going to bring for us. The resurrection of the Kundalini, all right? The Fohatic electrical charge that will charge us into awareness. It will shock us. It will give us problems. It will be abstract. It will be abrupt. But it is for our self-actualization. It is for us awakening to the true age of Aquarius and to the true coming of Shambhala. So that was the end of my expose. Wow, it was longer than I expected. But thank you so much for being there. And for those of you that enjoy my work, like, comment, subscribe, book a reading. And if you think this information needs to go out, I mean, there are thousands of videos in Jupiter Saturn conjunction. But if you think this is unique and you've not heard this before, share it with your friends, share it with people, because this information is not something you will hear. Brothers and sisters, wishing you a lot of love, a lot of luck, a lot of magic and mystery as the great awakener. I mean, as Saturn, the great karma, meets Jupiter, the great guru, as Shani meets Brihaspati in the skies. This is the greatest meeting of them all. This is the greatest blessing of them all. And it's coming to us now. Are we ready to receive it? I know I am. No matter what, I am ready to receive with an open heart. Touch your Anahata chakra. Remember, all your chakras are vibrating furiously now because the two greatest celestial bodies of the solar system are ready to meet. And the coming together of Saturn and Jupiter brought the Star of Bethlehem and the birth of Jesus. So it's ready to bring us to Christ consciousness. It is ready to bring us to Kundalini awakening. May all that you need be with you. May all that you seek come to you. Peace, love, and blessings. Goodbye.